Of the Canal Winchester Board of Education. Mr. Roberts, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Barnes?
Present.
Mr. Butler?
Here.
Mr. George?
Here.
Mrs. Talley?
Here. Now, will you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have any additions or deletions to this evening's agenda?
We do not.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
We have Mr. Butler and Mr. George. Would you please call the roll?
Mr. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. George?
Yes.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Mrs. Talley?
Yes. The motion carries. Next, we will move into this evening's presentation. I asked for Dr. Brooke Hippler to come up and present on special education services.
Good evening. I'm Brooke Hippler. I'm the Director of Special Services. And tonight I've brought a number of my teachers from the elementary and middle school and high school to talk about pre-vocational work program and activities that they incorporate within their classroom. Does this move me?
Mm-hmm. Just hit the right arrow. Maybe not. There we go.
There we go. When we talk about pre-vocational programming, we're talking about both the personal skills that our students need as well as interpersonal skills. And we start as young as kindergarten with these students because we have found that pre-vocational planning helps assist them in the development of employment skills for when they get older, helps bridge the gap between the capabilities of our students as well as the demands of the job market. So we're just starting very young to help get some of those skills in there. And then finally, it helps reduce some of the unemployment with the special needs community. So you'll see as we start at Indian Trail with our youngest students, the activities that she does are things that a lot of kids learn just naturally and normally, but our kids need a little more targeted instruction with that. And then as they move up through the high school program, you'll see a lot more activities and things that look more like pre-employment activities. So you guys can come on up. I'm going to start with Amy Irwin. She's one of our cross-categorical teachers at Indian Trail. So she's going to start with what she does there. Nick's changing for you.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yep.
There you go.
There you go.
So we teach our students the foundations for whichever vocational path they're going to choose. One of the things that we are focusing on currently is talking and communicating. You can see we have a push button device with four little buttons, and my student is able to push those, and he now has a voice to be part of the classroom and part of our environment. We push in with my AM kindergarten for almost the entire day. We are in general education, which is a big deal for us. So not only are my students learning how to communicate, but we are also teaching sign language, so now the class can communicate with us. And then some of the other things we're doing are we're working on learning to share, we're taking turns, following directions, creating routines, and working on following a work reward schedule, which leads to the workforce.
My name is LaSalle Passon. I'm the teacher at Winchester Trail. Sorry for my voice. This slide here is Mrs. Schwinn's. She's the teacher that is next door to me. So this is her slide. But we kind of build off of what Indian Trail does, still focusing on academics like reading, writing, math, but we incorporate a lot of different things. How do I, is it the top one? We partner with a lot of the therapists and do group therapies with recipes and things like that with the OT. They're learning to read recipes, find the ingredients, make it. They do a lot of pre-vocational tasks as well, like packing lunches. Pre-COVID, we used to work in the cafeteria, deliver ice, things like that, but we've kind of gotten away from that just because of germs and things. And then this year, I think Brooke was going to talk on this later, the Seeds of Caring.
You want me to talk about the partnering, or?
Sure.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, this year we've got a couple classrooms in the district that are partnering with Seeds of Caring, and they come out and work with, they're targeting this year students with disabilities in their classrooms and doing service projects with them. So I think I featured them in my board report either this month or last month and showed some pictures as they've come out and done their first activity, but they're going to be doing 3 over the course of the year.
Yeah.
So Winchester Trail is participating as well as high school.
Yeah, so they'll come out 3 more times throughout the year, and they're projects that are, they're adaptive projects for students with special needs.
I'm Diana, and this is Alex, Diana Scott, Alex Jackson. We're Team SCOJAC, if you will. We're at the middle school.
So these are just some of the photos we'll discuss. As you can see, there's kids working in the cafeteria.
We work in the
cooking.
we work in the cafeteria every morning from 9 to 9:30. We stock all the milk. We stock all the chips.
Yep.
Wrap the fruits. They have to count how many milks. She wants a certain amount of milks, and then the math is in there, like subtracting. There's only could be 50 white milks if there are 55 white. Putting all the chocolate milk in, white milk in, juice, chips,
Yeah.
condiments.
Takes a lot of brain power. And then some of the other functional life skills we do in the classroom are workshops, which are designed to practice job and life skills within the classroom, like looking at the correct order, with using fake food, measuring.
We have a simulated flower shop, a simulated donut shop, a simulated deli, pizza. They have to actually read the order. We role play. What would you say if you really did go into a store? Is that the right verbiage? How could you say that nicer? Things like that to get their order, and they practice being the customer and the employer.
And then employability skills. So using like personal data, memorization on that, filling out applications, social skills.
We were just saying earlier, they're astounded that I know their phone numbers. Like,
Yeah.
where did you get that information?
All of
They'll
their
say them in the phone.
addresses.
Yeah.
And then real life math and reading. So we might use money and time and following schedules, reading environmental print, like this, signs that you might see throughout the community.
We have we pack charcuterie boxes and coffee once a week. The kids, they'll go around. So a couple of them will take a clipboard and get their orders verbally, so that they're practicing speaking. How can I take? What can I do for you this week? In your order, and then they have to write the order and come back. And then some of them are on an ongoing order, as you can see on the little Excel spreadsheet there. So that comes off in a label. They have to sort the hot from the cold. They have to find the exact K-cup, put it in the box. All this doing it. If they touch the inside of the cup, we talk about germs and all that. And then they deliver it. They're supposed to have their own set of customers every week, all throughout the building. And by now it's somewhat independent.
Yeah.
It depends on the kid whether or not we let them
Yeah.
do it totally independent. And then she does the charcuterie boxes, which
Are pretty much the
a big
same
hit.
thing. So 7 crackers, 7 pepperonis. They have to count that, put it in there. We put a quote, piece of chocolate, and then they deliver it. Pick up the boxes Monday morning. And no matter the level of need, I think this is important. Students are given a job that highlights their strength. So
Right.
no matter what, someone's doing something that they're good at, that they'll excel at.
And then we keep the whole year that SCOJAC sales will be a bulletin board that'll last the entire year, so at the end of the year, the whole school can see
How much we sold.
how much we've sold.
And then the cafeteria careers, so we talked about that a little bit. Sometimes we make pizzas.
That's it, I think.
Yep. Thank you.
Oh, go ahead. Was there anyone else speaking? Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Haley Richardson. I'm one of the MD teachers. I work with Andrea Rummery at the high school. These are just, well, not a couple, but a lot of pictures of some different things that we do at the high school. What button do I press for this? Sorry. Okay. So at the high school, we have the program Cafe on the Canal. So through this, we do two different things. Twice a week, we do a coffee. Well, it's not exclusive to coffee. We do a drink order, where at the beginning of the school year, our staff can order a drink that will be delivered by our students on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So this includes coffee, teas, pops, and then once a month, we like to also incorporate a snack that our students make. Then with Cafe on the Canal, we also make lunch. We do this twice a month. So for lunches, we take a group of students to Aldi and we go grocery shopping. So we create a list and our students go independently into the store. They check off the items on their list. We bring it back to the school. On Tuesdays, we prep the lunch. So our lunches usually include a salad, a soup or a sandwich, and then always a dessert. And so we prep these on Tuesdays, we bake and cook it on Wednesdays, and our students deliver it to the staff that chose to order it. Those are our two main things. We do this, like I said, twice a week and twice a month, and this is a repetitive of getting those life skills through our Cafe on the Canal. We also have an amazing relationship with our cafeteria through Chartwells. A lot of people know Miss Tammy Heading. She has given us an amazing opportunity to work within the cafeteria at the high school. In the cafeteria, we do a number of jobs, just like the middle school mentioned. We wash and put away dishes. We wash and wrap fruit. We also stock the chip cart, the drink cart, and then we have a couple of students that prep and bake cookies and pizzas. So they're actually getting real work opportunity working in a cafeteria. We actually have a couple of students from the high school that actually work in our cafeteria during the school day, and we actually have a graduate that is full-time employed there. So this is real things that they could actually be doing after high school. So I think that's awesome. And another big thing that we just started doing recently is making t-shirts. As some of you may have purchased, last year we made the Choose to Include shirts that we did for Spread the Word Day. We actually ended up making over 100 t-shirts to sell over Canal Winchester District, and it was very challenging, but it was a lot of fun for our students. One of our students has decided that they want to make shirts all the time. So we also did a fundraiser just within the high school, and we sold over 50 shirts to our high school staff. So through this, we just use an industrial vinyl cutter machine, and we also use heat press, so our students make the design, cut the design, weave the design, heat press the design, and deliver the shirts. So it's a really long process, but again, this is a real thing that our students could be doing after they graduate. Then outside of school, we like to give our students the work opportunities. So one place that we like to go is Goodwill. Goodwill lets us come in twice a week. We go on Wednesdays and Fridays and volunteer at Goodwill. They give us whatever tasks that they need help with, so whether it's pulling color tags, organizing, cleaning. Just like the cafeteria, we actually have 2 students that work at Goodwill. So again, real things that they're actually going to be doing, which is amazing. We also have a really good relationship with our Columbus Library right out here. We go once a week, and our students sort and stamp new books that come in from the community. And they also help prepare the supplies that they're going to use for their community events that they do a lot, that our kids also attend, which is really awesome. And then a couple of things from previous years. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we've lost some of these connections. Also, some years they need volunteers, some years they don't. But a couple of them are Job Fusion, where we worked in River Valley Mall, and our students got to work with Old Navy. We worked at the local Dairy Queen right in town. We've worked with Wagnall's Library, Groveport Rec Center, and then last year for Paint Your Portrait Day, we had an awesome opportunity to go visit Marcus Theaters in Pickerington, where our students got to tour the facility and do a couple of job skills. And with that, a couple of our students got to actually meet the manager and talk about possibly working there. So it was all really great. And that's all I have.
All right, so any questions for any of the teachers?
I think that is so cool that you all offer these experiences to the students. And I was just wondering, what kind of feedback have you gotten from the students regarding the different activities and the different learning opportunities that they have through the program?
Well, at the high school, I mean, we get a lot of different feedback. I think at the end of the day, what's most important for me is we are doing things that our students want to be doing. None of this is we're forcing them to do it. Our kids come in on coffee day and they're like, coffee day, we're gonna see our staff and making shirts. They're like, oh, who ordered? I'm so excited to make this for them. They can see the work that I've put in. So for me, I think it's overall very positive. I like to use strength-based, so if they're good at it and they want to do it, we're going to do it. And if a kid who's not really great at making shirts but is awesome at making lunches, then we emphasize on their strengths so that they enjoy what they're doing.
I think our kids, coming from 5th grade, sometimes the parents will say, you're going to let them make hot coffee. You're going to send them throughout this very large building by themselves. And the kids are nervous at first, and the parents are like, my kid can't do that no. And then, I can ask by the end of the year, hey, what room is so-and-so in? And any of them can tell us. So it's seeing that growth from elementary to middle.
A lot of self-confidence is built too, which is very important with our special education, special needs population, I think, too. So.
Well, that's so awesome. Great job. Does anyone else have any comments or questions?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. Have you received, in conjunction with her question, have you received any feedback from parents, on what they think about the program?
I have. What's this? Oh, hi. I had a student who was going to go to Bridgeway, which is a school for functional skills for a student who's maybe more I don't know how to, more higher need. And so she actually pulled him from there because she's really happy with how we're doing at the middle school. And yeah, I'm just very proud of that because I didn't want him to leave. So she sees that we're doing the functional skills that he's going to need one day, because realistically he's not going to college, and he's going to be at home with her. So it's going really well, I think.
I think this is really cool too, like she said. One of the things that I can say is having grown up in a family where I had a sibling who was very special needs, and was told that, I heard my parents say multiple times he would never get past 1st or 2nd grade, but worked very hard and, does a lot of things that everyone else does, and no one would ever know that he, was at that level in 1st or 2nd grade if they didn't know him. So I really appreciate the hard work that you guys put in and the progress that's been made over the years, because I remember a day when they were just put in the hallways and they swept the hallways and they emptied the trash cans. So it is really nice to see that we're spending time on them and teaching them these kinds of skills. Do we follow them after high school so that we can tell their story after high school to show the things that they learned during school that's helping them in their after high school time, that how worth it is to have these programs?
Well, actually, I work at Progeny also, which is a family learning center for students that are profoundly disabled, and it's here in Canal, actually. I don't think a lot of people know about it. But it's the Eckfelds, Linda and Tom. They adopt or take in kids with profound disabilities, and a couple of their kids work there. They ended up adopting some of them, and they go into the community and work at Goodwill. Some are working there at their facility, but I also graduated with some of those students, so I know a couple, but yeah.
And my last question is, do you help them with resumes so that they can obtain jobs outside of after high school, do you help them with their resume building skills and things like that?
Yeah, definitely. So at the high school, we have 4 years to figure out what they want to do once they graduate. So whether that be to go to college, employability, Army, or, sometimes you don't know, which is fine too. But once we figure out what a student is really aiming for and what they have found through their abilities, what they're going to want to do, is when we start to hunker down on those. So if you want to go to college, this is what we got to do, and we practice doing that. We even make IEP goals where their job is to create a resume so that when they do graduate from high school, they have a resume that they can take to an employer with all of their skills from school that they can get a job with.
Thank you. Awesome job.
So you touched on pre-vocational early. How do you see the kind of the startup of all-day kindergarten? How does that affect your ability, staffing-wise, people-wise, student-wise? How do you think that's going to affect your ability to service those students?
It's interesting you asked that because Amy happens to be our kindergarten.
I am the kindergarten teacher. I was going to say it's going to give us more time for practice. I'm loud. Okay. We'll have more time. Repeated practice is so important. And the fact that we are 2.5 hours is very hard to get as much time one-on-one as we want. A full day is going to do so much better. This was my first year teaching half day. I have always done kindergarten first and second. I see the difference and I had to adjust. I know what that full day schedule will be like and how much growth we can see. And I'm really excited for it. I know my team is. We're ready for it. So bring it on.
All right, thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Next up, we have CWEA.
From Indian Trail, CWA would like to report that Jillian Porter and Jody Clemens attended the Ohio TESOL, which is the Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages conferences in Columbus. And we also had Danielle Snyder earning her master's degree in educational technology. Winchester Trail would like to report that their whole ELL team also participated in the TESOL conference. High school would like to congratulate the football team for this year's playoff success and the band students' ratings in their competition. SWEA would also like to thank Mr. Kruger and Mr. Butler for their service to the board and for their support to the union and teachers in our district.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Public Voice.
Ms. Talley, I'm gonna just add on here real quick. I'm gonna do the knock your socks off presentation. I know there are several people here tonight, and usually I wait to do it during the superintendent's report, but we do have a little bit in the treasurer's report tonight. So I want to just take some time to recognize some of our staff that have been recognized by their coworkers to have went above and beyond and have knocked the socks off of their coworkers. So this is something that we began last year in the first part of the new year, so in January, and we are a little delayed this year getting back at it. So we are going to recognize more individuals tonight. We opened up the nominations, and it is amazing to see how many of our staff members were nominated. So we're excited for that, and this is definitely, I would say, hopefully an honor for those who are nominated. So we're going to start off first, and if you guys would come up, I'm going to talk about you, and then we'll get a quick picture of each of you. Actually, we can probably do us all together. We'll get an individual one, and then we'll go from there. So we're going to start with Chantel Oliver Smith from Winchester Trail Elementary. And Chantel was nominated by Ashley Morris. Ashley said that Chantel goes above and beyond for her students and other staff members as well. She is a middle school volleyball coach, ELL teacher, and a RESA mentor. She's dedicated to the CW School District and works hard to make it a better place. So congratulations, Chantel. right, our next nominee is Mr. Will Melton from here at the Education Center and really the Trails. He was nominated by Melissa Hazelbaker. And Will, I will tell you, was in a sweatshirt earlier today, and he was walking through the hall with his dress shirt. Don't be shy, come on up. He said he had to be presentable. Yeah, there you go. That's right. Will always comes to the rescue with all of my computer technology needs. He is friendly and is very responsive and helpful. He has gone above and beyond when I've needed him, which is often as I don't have a techie brain. He helps to make my computer run smooth, which in turn makes my entire day run smooth. I appreciate all he does for not just me, but this district. Thank you so much, Will, for your continued help. Congratulations. It's all good. All right, there you go. Thanks. Congrats.
Yeah.
All right, next up, we have Miss Amy Byers from Canal Winchester High School, who was nominated by Hannah Sievers. Amy works with her students daily to see their potential and help them reach optimal success. She puts her heart and soul into her students and makes them feel special for who they are. She celebrates their successes, highlights their growth, and remains positive and supportive. She has overcome so much in her personal life with a major change, in her life with her husband's stroke, and manages her family and her job with grace and poise. Amy's continuous optimism and dedication to find the good in all students makes others strive to follow in her footsteps. I cannot say enough about Amy and her dedication to kids. Thanks for the hard work and dedication. It does not go unnoticed. You are a light to all. Congratulations. Congrats, Aim. All right. Next, we have Carla McKeon from Winchester Trail Elementary, who was nominated by Lindsay Owens. All right. Lindsay says, outstanding job performance and going beyond and above their job description. Carla is a parent in my room, and even though she is only one person, she does the work of many. She helps with students' medical needs, comes up with new ideas and interventions to try with students who are struggling, and is always willing to jump in to help with hard situations, emotionally and physically. Our district is so lucky to have her. Congratulations, Carla. And I think our last member that is here tonight is Miss Amy Cruz from Canal Winchester High School. And Amy was nominated by Allie Anderson and Patty Wagner. Allie says, Amy makes Canal Winchester High School a better place to work and learn through the community she creates. She also should be recognized for her outstanding job performance. Amy is teaching some of the most valuable life skills to a wide variety of students through her food science classes. Students are hands-on and able to take on responsibility and ownership of their learning in her class. Amy's positive attitude and inventive mind keeps her students doing new and creative projects to keep students engaged in learning. I'm so glad to have Amy at the high school because she also doubles as an unofficial mentor to me. She's a wealth of knowledge on all topics, educational and otherwise. Patty says that Amy is a great teacher and an amazing coworker. She has been a great help to me here at Canal Winchester High School, and I'm so glad to have her as a coworker and a friend. Congratulations. All right, and Julie Parks, I did not see. So Julie Parks from Indian Trail was nominated by Michelle Good, And Michelle Good says that Julie is always willing to step in and help out in small and big ways. She goes above and beyond what is expected of her in the ways that she shows support to our students and our staff. She shows up every day ready and willing to help out with whatever and wherever help is needed. So congratulations to Julie Parks. And last but certainly not least, we have Kanetta Bridges. And Kanetta was nominated by Jeannie Dukakis at the middle school. Kanetta is the definition of demonstrating dedication to teaching. She is by far the best intervention specialist that I have ever had the privilege of working with in my entire career. The care and love she shows all students is extraordinary, and she goes above and beyond time and time again. She is always quick to help out her colleagues and never seems to run out of patience. Above all, she is always focused on what is best for her students and how she can help them grow and achieve their full potential. So congratulations once again to all, and we thank you for going above and beyond.
Mrs. Hunt said it's not a bad thing to have so many nominations, and you all are so inspiring, so thank you. And will you still be doing a group picture?
How about we all come up and just do a really quick group picture of you all? That's perfect, because I don't know what we'll shout out with so many. Oh, did everybody, oh, yeah, before they leave. And then you guys don't have to stay unless you really want to talk. You guys are good, I don't need to be in. Here, all of you just wore hair songs.
Next, we have public voice, or are there any speakers?
There is no public voice tonight.
Okay, very good. Next, moving on to executive reports, and we're going to start with our treasurer's report.
Why? Yeah. Gotcha. You're the man. Did you? That's good. All right, good evening. We got the 5-year forecast this month. It's the first forecast we do for the year. We went into details at the work session on line items. I put this together. It was something I used to do early. I kind of got away from it, but I wanted to get back because it kind of paints a picture of our district outside just financials and numbers and line by line items and things like that. So this is kind of a living document. Just wanted to kind of highlight some things of strategic planning that we have in the district from a financial standpoint and what we do to try to stay tax neutral. We try not to levy new taxes to burden the community members, and I think we've done that since 2009. We haven't had any new taxes. We've had renewals. And then just kind of a look ahead on what our philosophy is and those types of things. So just kind of a forecast summary. There's many things that can impact the forecast. I highlighted as many as I could here that are actually meaningful. We continue to maintain a balanced budget. We're going to have a cash balance of $51.467 million at the end of the forecast. We did renew the emergency levy, which is big to the forecast. Gets us through the next 5 years. Ohio legislation, they passed the biennium budget for 24 and 25. It did feature some changes to the fair funding formula, which were advantageous to the district. Mainly the base cost adjustments that they made. Had they not done that, we would have been pretty much status quo over the next 2 years, this year and next. So we fought hard with with our colleagues and people around the state to make sure that the base cost adjustments were made to the formula. ESSER funds were huge to the district over the last few years. It allowed us to expand programs. It allowed us to kind of build up a little bit of a fund balance. Those are going away at the end of this year, so that will be very impactful moving forward. We'll have to kind of coordinate and see which of those positions remain, which we reallocate, and those types of things. Our collective bargaining agreements expire. This is the last fiscal year. We'll begin negotiating with CWEA and our classified union in March or April, which will impact 25 through 27 if we do continue to do a 3-year plan. And then health insurance costs. It's about an $8 million line item to the district. So we will continue to kind of look at it from a district standpoint cost, but also from a insurance standpoint for our staff members and families. So it's very impactful to them to have good benefits. So we want to make sure it's affordable, yet still a good plan. This is just kind of summarizing revenues versus expenditures, with revenues being the maroon. You can see throughout the forecast, it's more than the expenditures, which is what we want to see. And I just highlight the cash balance at the end of the forecast in 2028, as I mentioned before, $51.4 million.
And Nick, before we move on
Yep.
from that, so can you scroll down just a little bit? In 2023, the actual expenditures increased, were above revenues. Can you just touch on that real quick? Because somebody will have a question about that.
Yeah, it's not truly operating expenditures. We moved $14 million into the capital projects fund to build the 30,000 square foot addition that's happening right now in Indian Trail to be able to offer full day kindergarten and allow for expansion in the K-5 or pre-K-5 grade levels, really, yes. So that's the reason why the gray exceeded the revenues in 2023, this last fiscal year.
Okay.
Good
Yeah,
question.
and I would also like to just, I guess, say thanks to you, because I think the use of the ESSER funds, understanding that those were short-term dollars that were kind of allocated for a specified period of time, and using those dollars in a way that made sense, but also in a way that when we did have to move that expense back into our general fund, we would be able to do it without affecting our ability to still maintain a balanced budget even after those funds kind of go away. So appreciate your leadership in that.
Welcome. Yeah, it kind of indirectly helped us build this addition, really. So any questions on just the summary, kind of the bullet points of kind of what drives the forecast, the big items? Financial statement wise, I just kind of outlined the statement of revenues. We're expecting some sort of an increase. You can see 3% is kind of the norm across the boundaries. That's pretty much driven by income tax, a little bit of real estate growth, and then the state funding formula driving the growth in revenue. This, as you mentioned before, having the transfer, but we also borrowed money, which also drives up the transfers of incoming amounts. So it's kind of an in and out for the transfers. Expenditures, we're going to have a significant increase in 25. That's the ESSER dollars coming back, essentially bringing the staff back and those expenditures back to the general fund. And then we have just a kind of a steady growth throughout the rest of the forecast, which is pretty much for staffing and benefits associated with that. So, notes to the forecast, I just kind of wanted to highlight some key things that really drive the forecast. Enrollment. I mean, enrollment really drives every decision that we make. We have been stagnant the last few years and actually down. With COVID, we actually saw some students leave the district for other education choices. We've started to see some of that come back, and then we're going to pump up in 25 due to the full day kindergarten. So these numbers right here are true students that are being educated in our school district. This is what we're being funded on from the state. So these are kind of butts and seats numbers. Right now, these are kind of deflated a little bit because we only get credit for half-day kindergarten. So this year we have 212, so we're only being credited for 106 because we only receive funding for half of that student. So we will see a big jump next year. We're expecting close to 290 to 300 kindergartners next year, which will be a very big class, something that we're going to have to adjust for all across the way. And then other segments of our enrollment that also drive special education was here presenting tonight. Here's the numbers as far as special education are concerned. They drive our staffing, they drive decisions that are made. And then another big population are English learners that you can see has been a drastic boom over the last 8 years, from the low 90s up until the 300s, and I'd expect this to continue to bump up over the future. So each of these segments of enrollment requires special staffing, it requires special instruction. I didn't put gifted on here, but that's another segmented enrollment that we kind of keep track of to see what we need to do and see where our resources need to be applied. Capital spending. We stopped spending capital dollars from the general fund when I got here. We started transferring money into a PI. We wanted that money to kind of be our driving force for the future. We don't have a dedicated PI in this district, so it had to be all internal. It really does a lot. Paving, help to fill the track and the turf, and then any athletic facilities. It does all of our roofing projects and any big, huge projects that we do. We don't apply general maintenance type items to this very often. You can see that we've transferred $12.9 million over the last 6 years, and then we're going to move 1.1 this year and then 1.1 just over that next year. That's equivalent to 1.5 mills. And then in 2026, we're going to plan to move inside millage. That will give us a full permanent millage levy in that fund, so we don't have to rely on transfers every single year. Cash flow wise in our capital improvement fund, this is what I project with these transfers, and then inside millage move will be at about $6.2 million. It seems like a lot, but just over the last couple of years we've had two, I'd call them medium-sized roofing projects, and they've been about $1.4 million each. So once we have to replace roofs, do a little bit more paving, we've been fortunate. Our HVAC systems have been really well maintained. A chiller, for example, costs $300,000. I mean, and we've got probably 12 of them or more in the school district. So as those things break down, we've got the funds to make sure to cover it without worrying about general fund being kind of burdened with that. As we discussed earlier, full day kindergarten.
Real quick on
Yep.
that, just as we're talking about it, I mean, you talk about, 1.5 mils internal and internal levy. Just we're not going to go out and ask for additional tax money for that. That's all internal to what we've already got. We're just going to,
Correct.
you're going to set it up on a permanent basis so we don't have to approve an allocation each year, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
It'll be more of a self-sustaining fund for us that will generate about the 1.6 million or the 1.1 that we're going to transfer. So full day kindergarten, we're really excited to launch this for the 2024-2025 school year. I think it's well overdue. Also, part of that project's bringing preschool back over to Indian Trail, which will make that building the true pre-K 2, and it will open us up for the 3, 4, 5 building at Winchester Trail. Here's kind of some glimpses of what it will look like off the back of the building. Blends in nicely. Kindergarten will be on the bottom floor, 8 full classrooms. Each classroom has a bathroom, and then 10 additional classrooms on the top level. So it gives us 18 additional classes. So when we move preschool from Winchester over to Indian Trail, that will open up 8 to 10 classrooms over there. So we have an expansion plan from K to 5. And then 9 to 12, we're fine. And our other only triggered bubble is probably 6, 7, 8, which we've got a plan for that. If kindergarten numbers start coming through like we think they're going to. You have anything to offer on the full-day kindergarten, Ms. Hunt?
Nope, I'm good. If you've gotten an opportunity, I know we share the report out each week to show what's happening, and really now it's taking off. You can see the building's being built. It's already up past the first floor, so I believe next week is when they believe they're going to start going up even further to start going to the second floor. So it's exciting for sure. It's a huge space when you look at it from.
I have this in there mainly because it's going to bring new teaching. I think we're going to have to bring in 8 new teachers. It's going to require a look at intervention specialists. It's going to require a look at ELL. It's going to require maybe another custodian for that 30,000 square foot wing. It's all forecasted, but it's bringing additional costs, good costs, and then we'll have to outfit these rooms with supplies that are not there or a part of the project. So that's why I wanted to include that in.
And the buildings, Craig is working with Leah and her team to talk through what this looks like, build a plan so that we make sure that we're ready to go come August of next school year.
And then some ongoing projects, safety and security. We've been focused on that really since I've been here, but really have taken more of an initiative here lately. We're going through a security camera upgrade right now. We upgraded the phone system. We're putting GPS on the buses and launching that. We hope to put a gun detection software, overlay it over the video system once it's installed. That would identify any weapons that were entering the building before they entered the building. It would notify, so it's kind of more of a proactive approach for safety and security. The units for the athletic events, specifically football, we're looking to get those for ourselves. We're not sure of the overall plan on where they'll be used, when they'll be used. We just know football is probably a definite. I'm not sure with basketball and things like that, the things we need to look through. Updated our radio system, which gives us a lot longer range. We would lose contact with buses down closer to Fairfield Career Center, and when we would go up, I think, in the northern parts of Delaware and things like that. It also coordinates with law enforcement, so it kind of makes everybody sync together a little better. And we'll continue to look at these things. The door entry systems we're looking at. So just overall security for entry into buildings and who's entering our buildings is the most. We've added 2 SROs over the last 2 years. We had one for a long period of time, added one last year, and then we added the third at this year, earlier in the year. So any questions on safety and security? And then performing arts, I feel like we've been talking about this aspect for quite a while. We made the addition in Indian Trail for full-day kindergarten a priority. I think that was right. But we've looked at Ole Speaks, renovating it. Costs are coming back to be in the $2 million range. I'm not sure if it's a good idea to put $2 million into a 100-year-old space. So we met with architects last week, and we're kind of exploring what it would look like to actually build onto the high school and do a new PAC. We're going to have some dollars left through projects. We're going to have a little bit of budget left from the Indian Trail project. We had some money left over from the high school project. That money really needs to be spent on capital projects, specifically building additions. And the PAC is one of those options for us to do. Another option is continuing to expand athletic facilities. We've done a lot over my 8 years here. We've added tennis courts. We've replaced the track at the middle school. We've redone the turf and the track at the high school, which was originally done by the boosters. We added new weights and turf inside the athletic facility, football lockers. We're going to continue to look at our facilities to make sure it's kind of a place where people want to be. Extracurricular activities, I know it's kind of a touchy subject sometimes, but performing arts, athletics, and all the extracurriculars are some of the reasons why kids want to come to school. It gives them another reason to come to school. So it's just another way for us to kind of make sure those kids are at the best and safest facilities possible.
And Nick, before you continue with the levy
Yep.
section, I just kind of wanted to ask if the district survey that just wrapped up, will that kind of target some of those areas that you were talking about as far as the getting the community input on a new performing arts center and the athletic facilities? Were some of the questions geared towards that, just to see what their feedback would be?
We didn't specify specific facilities. Our hope is that once we get the information back on specifically the Performing Arts Center, we decide which route we're going to go. We want to go out to the community and have focused efforts on getting feedback specific to what our community believes that we need to be where we want to be in five years. On a survey, there's only so much you can ask, and so we want to be able to have conversations and really dive into, what Mr. Roberts said, making sure that we become a place where people want to be, want to come, and want to stay. And so that's our hope, is that getting that feedback from our community will allow us to build for our future.
Because it's very important for them to be involved.
Yes, 100%. Yep, our community as a whole, both parents, students, and then the community at large.
Yeah, I just want to echo, no way a decision has been made. I just want people to know that. We've got to take steps to even see if it's feasible to do. We gave the architects kind of a range of budget, and if they can design something for that, then we will really get more serious about it. But if they come back and they can't, then we'll go a different direction. But it's more ground filling right now to see what costs are, what we can do, what we can't do. We're running out of rooms at the high school. I mean, we've built onto that thing, 4 or 5 times now. At some point, we're going to run out of space there, but we think we have a good place to do it. We just need the architect to look at it and tell us for sure that it is possible and it's a good location. We've heard for countless times, part of the athletic facilities, bleachers, our bleachers are too small. When you really look at other surrounding schools and you look at the overhead, our bleachers are significantly smaller than other schools, and this one kind of ties into safety and the athletic facilities. So we're looking at quotes right now to at least expand one side of the home bleachers and probably both sides of the visitors bleachers. So we're kind of looking at options there. Because I know when we're having trouble at games, there's no place to be seated. So it will help maybe expand safety and security at ball games by having places for people to sit. And then lastly, levy planning. November 7th, the voters supported our levy, and it passed, like I said. So for 5 more years, we're able to be proactive. We're able to plan. I'd like to say other things, but I'm not permitted to by law. But you can kind of see our levy plan. This has been, we've been going over this last couple of years. You can see the history. In 2029, we're going to look to take that out to a 10-year just to give us a little bit of breathing room. I'd say levy new taxes. Right now, I'd say the chances of that are pretty slim, but I can't predict 10 years from now. But as long as the economic outlook remains the same, I would not expect us to have to levy new taxes at that point. But enrollment will dictate that. Everything that we've went over in the previous pages will dictate kind of where we are at this point. But from 24 to 29, we've got secured funding. And then the next big piece would getting a more biennium budget from the state secured in the next cycle. So here's the actual forecast report.
Mr. Roberts, before you continue, I know you're not permitted to, but I think I can.
Sure.
I think I can say something in regards to the levy. I just wanted to say on behalf of the board, I'd like to express my most deepest gratitude to the voters for the passage of the substitute levy and for showing your unwavering support and commitment to the Canal Winchester schools, securing our ability to maintain a balanced budget while enabling the district to continue developing and executing the ambitious and innovative educational goals and values conveyed in the CW Promise. And your investment in education will certainly help keep our students safe and prepare them for success in the future. So on behalf of the board, I'd like to extend my most sincere thanks to all the voters for your support.
Yes, me too. Very well said.
Thank you.
Any questions on the forecast report? And then these are just getting into the numbers. You can see the 51.167 million.
That, when you show that ending cash balance, does that include any capital projects that we would undertake over the next 5 years, or does that not include that?
Does not.
Okay.
No, it includes the transfers that we talked about in the PI.
Right.
And if we decided to do a PAC or athletic facility, then that would be
Okay, that's
a
just
separate
decrease.
hit
I
to
mean,
it,
but
yeah.
we have a little bit of room to do that if we need to, because
Yeah.
because the voters have helped us with the levies and the levy renewals historically, and we're in a good cash position now.
Yeah, it's kind of why I listed these in ongoing projects. That way, they're not really in there, but anything else we do in addition to that we didn't plan, like a PAC or additional security or something different to athletic facilities, it would be on top of that, that would take from the ending balance of the forecast. So, yep, good question. Any other questions? That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Roberts. And now we're moving on to our superintendent report. Is there anything, Ms.
Mine will be brief. I did review the frequently asked questions provided to us by legal from the guidance of the auditor, and I would like to share the following. I would like to express my sincere appreciation for the successful passage of the levy on November 7th. The unity displayed by our community sends a powerful message about the significance we collectively place on education and the future of our district. This approval is a clear reflection of our shared dedication to achieving excellence in education. I am excited to share that the approval of the renewal levy provides our district with the stability and support essential for proactive planning towards the future. And as Mr. Roberts shared tonight in our forecast, that is the most important thing for us, is to be able to look ahead and really look at what we're doing and not be reactive and actually be proactive in planning for our future. The support enables us to maintain our commitment to delivering quality education, investing in our students, and improving the overall educational experience for everyone involved. Moving forward, rest assured that the resources granted through this levy will be utilized responsibly and transparently to address the needs of our students. Your vote signified more than a mere financial transaction. It is an investment in the future success of our community, the education of our children, and the ongoing prosperity of our district. I would also like to take this opportunity to publicly express my gratitude to the Canal Winchester community for their unwavering support of the levy. Despite the challenges posed by new guidance from auditors regarding expressions of support, I have carefully reviewed the FAQs to ensure compliance. The community's belief in the importance of education and collaborative efforts has paved the way for continued growth and success. So thank you. And that's all I have for this evening.
Thank you, Mrs. Hunt. Next order of business would be our district reports. Do we have any comments or questions from the board? I did have something. In reviewing the report, I just wanted to say that the idea of having a transportation advisory committee seems like a very good idea, and I look forward to hearing more about that, the progress made. I know it's just in the initial phases, but I know you'll discuss issues and propose solutions moving forward. I just think that's a wonderful idea.
Yeah, I met with Jody last week, and she shared just some of the ideas that the group has come up with, and it's just amazing when you get the feedback from those who are in it, and I think we're gonna be able to have some great things that come out of that. So thanks for sharing that.
And then with that, I do appreciate the Indian Trail staff, teachers going out. I don't know if they've gone out yet or they're planning to visit other schools who have full-day kindergarten. That's also a wonderful idea, just to see hands-on how they're handling their setup and operations and such. And then I was thinking about how that may impact transportation as well, if we're expecting like 300 kindergartners.
It will actually help us a little bit because of that midday of trying to get the turnaround pretty quickly. It doesn't help us to be able to gain a whole lot of time back, but it does help not having to have those midday routes. We will still have some midday routes for our special needs preschool, but it will increase the routes, but it will help with that in the middle of the day kind of push.
Okay, that makes sense. Is there anything else from the board? Moving on, next we have our consent agenda, and I need a motion.
I'll give the motion.
Second.
All right, thank you very much. I'll go ahead and start. So for number 2, we do have the minutes from both the regular meeting in October and our work session in November. Number 3, we have donations. We do have a donation from TS Tech Americas to Indian Trail LLC Family Literacy Night in the amount of $500. So we want to thank them for their donation. Number 4 is our certified personnel. We do have several resignations in the reform of retirement. So I'm just going to take just a minute to recognize each of our retirees. We do have Heather Bogus, who serves as our library learning teacher at the middle school, and she will be retiring October 1st of next school year. We also have Melissa Farrell, who is a kindergarten teacher who will be retiring at the end of this year, and Kathy Eisnagel, who is middle school teacher who will be retiring effective November 1 of 2024. We have several leave of absence requests. And moving on then to contract recommendation, we do have a contract recommendation for Bailey Spriggs for a 3-year contract. This was an oversight on our part, so we're making sure that we put this on for the contract, for her to have her contract. Moving on to stipends. We do have a national board stipend that we would like to recognize for Alexandra Lundgren. Number 5, our classified personnel. Again, we have a few retirements. We do have a leave of absence request and classified recommendations for bus driver and paraprofessionals. And then
Have we made a decision on the work-based learning coordinator yet?
we have, yes. So we will be replacing that position. We do have a title change for it, and it's career readiness coordinator, I believe. So it will stay on the same place in the salary schedule, just a small title change for that. And we will be looking to post that position for a January 1 start. And then moving on, our final thing under classified recommendation are substitutes. We do have bus driver and lighting technician and a custodian. Number 6 are our supplemental personnel. We pick up some of our winter positions here, and then you're gonna also notice, I'm just gonna highlight it here, we do have a high school soccer position from the fall as well. And then volunteers and our stipends for our faculty managers. Number 7 is a request for an overnight field trip. Brady Brennan will be taking the high school choir to New York City, April 4th through the 7th. Number 8 is our early graduation request. And that sums up the consent agenda.
have any questions about the items in the consent agenda? Hearing none, I think we're ready for the roll.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Mrs. Talley?
Yes.
Mr. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. George?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Next, we have our first action item, which will be the reading, reviewing of the calendar year. No, I'm sorry. It was the 5-year forecast first.
I'll make a motion action on number 1.
Second. Was there anything else to add, Mr. Roberts? I didn't think so. Just wanted to give you an opportunity.
Thank you.
You can please call the roll.
Mr. Butler?
Yes.
Mrs. Talley?
Yes.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Mr. George?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Our next action item, the one I was, no, it's not the calendar. I don't know why I'm excited about the calendar.
Go to that calendar. Is it on here somewhere? Oh, it's on a whole nother discussion, okay?
So anyway, next action item is the insurance rates. I need a motion.
So moved.
I'll second it.
So these are the insurance rates for the board share and the employee share. No changes to dental and vision. It was recommended to change dental, but we have a strong fund balance. It's a little bit more predictable, so I wanted to hold those rates. We increased family and single by 5.6%. All we really try to do on this is break even. Last year we were down like 42,000, so it was really close to break even. Medical costs have really, pharmacy in particular, we talked about this a little bit at the work session, continue to rise. We're still beating trend, believe it or not. Trend's about 12% on health insurance costs. So to go up 5.6%, seems like a lot, but it's still kind of curving what other districts have been facing in the area. We still have our high premium plan, which we're looking to, as part of the forecast, looking to make ways for the insurance to be more affordable and better for all employees. So these will be the rates for the January 1 through December time period. Any other questions on those?
I know you summarized it briefly about the increase, but it seems like it's pretty steep, the 5.6% increase.
Our consultant actually recommended it to be close to 9%. Yeah, they do a whole actuary review based on your last 24 months of claims data. And it came back that with the claims and on our cost to be closer to 9%. I didn't want to do that. We try to roll the dice a little bit more with the fund balance we have in the health insurance. So like I said, all we're trying to do is break even. We're not trying to add to the balance. And then the setup we have is if the plan does perform really well, then we grant the premium holiday in the following year. But if we don't collect the correct rates, then our fund balance can get out of order real quick. So we want to make sure the rates are set according to somewhere where the consultant wants us to be, and myself where I feel comfortable. And then if we perform really well, then we give money back to the employee. So it's kind of a catch-22. And we've given, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 premium holidays over the 8 years I've been here. So we try to make sure we give back when we do capture money over and beyond what we were projecting. But we're usually in the 200,000 range, which is pretty small in a $7 million plan for the health insurance.
Okay. So hopefully, we'll continue to look at other options to see where costs can be saved for staff and families.
Any other questions?
you can call the roll, please.
Mr. George,
Yes.
Mrs. Talley,
Yes.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mr. Butler.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item is a resolution authorizing Meta to bid natural gas service. And I'll make a motion.
And I'll second.
So we're just renewing a 5-year agreement with Meta in the Ohio School Consortium. We do this for the natural gas program. They go out in advance when rates are cheap, and they might buy 2 to 3 years of rates. But when they're not to our advantage, we kind of just buy 6 months, 12 months, and it's approved by the consortium. It saves us a lot of money and saves the members of this consortium a lot of money by kind of being proactive and going out and buying natural gas when it's kind of at a cheaper rate. So we're just allowing them to go out and secure those rates for us and get it back to the consortium to save money on our natural gas bills.
So how do we know that it's saving us money? What do you follow to verify that?
They have a whole team that monitors this. Meta has a staff. The consortium looks at it. I don't know if you ever look at your personal bill, but if you don't keep track of it, well, I would advise people to go out to there's an apples to apples approach for not only commercial but residential, where you can go out and look at your gas bill and see what you're paying per CCF on gas, and then electric also. And then you can kind of look at it and get cheaper rates than what you currently have. So I have a lot of confidence. I have to watch what I'm saying. I have a lot of confidence in Meta in this particular.
All right. Will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Talley,
Yes.
Mr. Butler,
Yes.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mr. George.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. For the next action item, I need a motion and a second. Second.
So this is a reimbursement for Monica's spending at the OSBA Capital Conference.
And I will recuse myself from the vote, but will you please call the roll?
Mr. George,
Yes.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mr. Butler,
Yes.
Mrs. Talley.
Recuse. Motion carries 3 and 1 recusal.
Here's the discussion item.
Yay. So finally, we get to talk about the calendar draft for the 2024-2025 calendar year.
Absolutely. So a little just background on how this comes about. Typically, we like to bring up the first reading in October. We had a committee put together to look at scheduling options for the future. We started this in the spring of last school year, looking forward to this year. With us going into full-day kindergarten, we felt like it was a great opportunity for us to make some changes to increase instructional time for our students that we lost when we made some changes to the busing with the 4-tier busing. And so the group was fantastic. We spent a lot of time together and came up with some great ideas. But then we remembered that we have a building opening at the beginning of this school year, the 24-25 school year. So the earliest that we can start with students, when you look at the calendar, is August 19th. Which is that Monday. That's to ensure that all is done. We make sure that everything can be moved and ready to go for the classrooms at Indian Trail. So with that being said, 2 calendars were developed by a calendar committee, which is developed by the teachers union, and they then present both of those calendars to their union, and they vote. And so calendar B, if you notice at the label, this was calendar B. This is the one that they are presenting to us. So just highlighting some of the important items. This is very much what we call a skeleton calendar, which means we will tell the start of the school year, the end of the school year, breaks in between, but we're not going to, highlight teacher conferences. We're not going to highlight open houses on this calendar. It's just very much when your student will be in school and when they will not. So the first day of school for students would actually be on the 20th. The 13th and the 14th would be new staff work days. The 15th, 16th would be teacher work days, the first time they come in, which is convocation and some other things that we do. And then the 19th would be a professional development day for teachers. The reds that you see through are holidays for the most part. So you'll see, obviously, Labor Day. You get the fall break, which was very similar to what we had already. And then we have our Thanksgiving break and our holiday break into December. January, we would come back with what we call the Records Day on the 3rd of January. So no students, but the staff would be working on that day. 20th would be off, the 17th would be off. 2 new days that we had placed in here, February 28th and March 18th, are holidays for a large portion of our students. So one would be Eid, and the other is, I believe, the start of Ramadan. And those days are days that when we were looking at the scheduling, we felt like that was something that we have a lot of students that miss, and so those 2 days would become professional development days for our teachers.
Is there an election day?
There are election days. March 18th, no.
March 18th?
It's 18th, yep, is our election day. Yeah, sorry. So spring break is the other one that falls in. So yeah, the 18th is the election day in March, and then obviously, all right, hold on a minute. November has,
The 5th.
yeah, there we go, the 5th. Thank you.
I was thinking March, but I was thinking of
Yeah.
something in May.
So there was, and this is very confusing to me. So it used to be March or May, depending on, wasn't it something with the presidential election? It was March or May, but then they just passed to say that it needed to stay in.
Yeah, they had a special election.
So it changes between March and May. Yep, that's what it was. And then moving on, you have your spring break, the 14th through the 18th, and then your last day of school for students would be the 29th, and the last day of school for teachers would be the 30th. One of the things that the group did talk about, and this is again, once we bring the group back together to really look at 25, 26, they're looking at more breaks within the school year, and we just can't get that in this calendar. So really looking at student and staff mental health is really like breaking in more, building in more breaks. So potentially moving into 25, 26, we could be looking at a start earlier into August so that we can get some of those breaks. The one thing about this calendar, if you look at it, really January, February, and March are gonna be long months for our teachers with spring break being so late. But that's where we're at. So what will happen is this is our first reading, almost like policy. So if there are any comments, suggestions, feedback from any community members, our teachers, our staff, period, anybody, you can reach out to me and let me know that feedback, and we will take that into consideration. Coming into December, the goal would be to have the calendar back to you for approval. Any questions?
No, I don't have any. Does anyone else have any questions? I think it looks pretty solid to me.
Thank you.
Next, do we have any reason for executive session?
No, we do not.
All right. Before we close, I just wanted to take the time in light of Tuesday's tragedy with the OSBA conference. I just wanted to say on behalf of the Canal Winchester School District that I'd like to extend my most heartfelt sympathies, thoughts, and prayers to the Tuscarawas Valley school community. And that impact of that tragedy has been felt nationwide. And we stand with them and we support them and we will keep them in our thoughts and prayers. Moving on, I'd like to see if there's a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second it. Mr. Roberts?
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Mrs. Talley?
Yes.
Mr. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. George?
Yes.
A motion carries. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Thank you. Have a happy Thanksgiving.